out tonight. Colon Cam. Find out what happens when 7 worms live in a colon, stop being polite, and start being real. Plus, Andrew Goldberg of the Smoking Gun tells us why Jerry Seinfeld's garage is no laughing matter. Hey, what's up with garages? And our Girl Gone Wired has a fascinating and gripping bio on her website. Here's an excerpt. I can still remember the day when I first laid eyes on a Piggly Wiggly grocery store. That's it. Hey, everyone. I'm Laura Swisher, and you're watching Unscrewed.
Unscrewed. That's right.
And here he is, a man who downloads the MP3 version of McDonald's jingle, I'm loving it, and sings it incessantly at the office. Smart and Sargent.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Wonderful to have you on the program. Thanks for being here. What a fine audience. McDonald's, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I know, I can't get that out of my head. And as a result, I can't stop eating the chicken nuggets and everything. The plan is working, Laura. I'm loving it. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Unscrewed, the show that's content to merely farm its land and raise its children until the day outriders attack, and then it will take up the sword and lead its people to battle and to victory. I'm Martin Sargent. So check this out, man. My cell phone just up and broke last night. Just quit on me just as I was trying to call in an order of Applebee's riblets to go. It's freaking I mean, the things are just really starting to piss me off. In fact, let's just dive right in and address the elephant in the techie living room. Cell phones are flimsy-assed, infuriating pieces of plastic crap. They're expensive, yet cheaply made, and either they don't work well or they're flat out broken. Listen, cell phone maker people, have you not heard of that shining, sturdy material known as metal? Yes, metal. See, unlike plastic, metal doesn't crap the bed at the first sign of trouble or extreme pocket friction. No. Now, check this out. This is a damn cell phone with some balls, man. I mean, yeah. Tell you what, you huck that sumbitch out the window of your Toyota Cressida doing 80 on the freeway through Death Valley on your way to Reno, and then pick it back up on your way home, and it would still work well enough for you to pawn the bastard for some gas money. Now, that's a phone, brother. You know, sure, I mean, today's cell phones, they're small, and they're cute with their tiny little buttons and cute little flip tops. Yeah, but guess what? Cute doesn't cut it. I mean, look at my hands. Look at my hands. These are not the hands of a giant. I am not a monster. I'm a normal-sized man. But look at these buttons. Look, who are they making these things for? The magical wee folk who live in toadstools over in Happy Elf Village? I'll tell you another thing. Cell phone reception. You know what? I can hear you now, and it sounds like this. Great. I mean, okay, I wonder who that was. Was it the president of Zanzibar calling? The mayor of Cuba? Who knows? Can't understand him. I get 1 foot under the surface of the Chuck E. Cheese ball crawl, and my reception goes all to hell. But joy of joys, at least my cell phone plays a jaunty little hip-hop rap tune, Jay's She bullshit when it rings. 1,000 yays, oh yeah. And that is why. All of this is why last night I took it upon myself to book some time with the inventor of the cell phone, Professor Phineas Ludlow, over at UC Berkeley, and we had a fairly frank discussion.
Well, Professor, guess you wish you did a little bit more research on cell phone technology, yeah? You want to make a cell phone call? Go ahead. Guess what? You can't, because you don't get reception.
So, cell phones are neat, they're neat, but when times get tough, having a cute little blue glowing cell phone that plays the theme song from Chariot to Fire ain't gonna mean diddly jack, but you'll be begging for one of these, my friend. Yeah. All right, enough about this crap. Let's watch some video that captures the spirit of the fine men and women of the NASA Space Agency in a segment called Moments in NASA History.
And now it's time for another moment in NASA history.
Okay, guys, it's not fun anymore. Come on, let me back in.
There's a lot of anger concerning the cell phone. These things are ruining my life. I mean, especially, you know, I drink. So that's another problem because you have this thing with you when you go out and then you start the drunk dialing. I mean, last night between the hours like 1:30 and 1:35, I look at my call log this morning. I called every girlfriend I've ever had.
I tried to talk him out of it, but it didn't work. You know what I love and I'm looking forward to is the big fat tumor I have 5-10 years down the line. But you know when you're talking on the phone for a long time and then all of a sudden your phone gets like really hot? Like I can feel the tumor starting.
Mm-hmm. And the little shards of fiberglass start fighting. Do you get that on your phone?
Shards of fiberglass?
I pay extra for that piece.
He's got the asbestos phone.
Get rid of this thing. Hey, tonight's show is going to shine brighter than 10,000 diamonds on fire on the 4th of July. Our old friend Andrew Goldberg from thesmokinggun.com will talk smack about celebrities. And our Girl Gone Wired is a real hot deep dish pie of love, a pie that I would like to penetrate. But before all that, who wouldn't? Hey, wait till you see this broad. She's hot, all right? But before we do all that, usually when we think of worms, we think of fish bait, abdominal parasites, or things that we pluck out of Joey the intern's hair. But some worms have the power to heal. Via netcam from Clinto, Iowa, here's whipworm lover, Mr. Raymond Fiedler. Hey, Raymond. Wonderful to have you on the program, my friend. So you have a health condition. You suffer from ulcerative colitis. Tell us what that is.
Well, what happens is I got ulcers in my colon, and if they polyps can develop into cancer. Mm-hmm. So then I need to, use things to get rid of them. And the whipworms do that. Okay, let's stop right there. So you got these things growing in your colon. You've got a lot of pain, perhaps a little fecal urgency, etc. In order to combat all that, you started eating worms. Drinking them. Drinking them, that's right. I mean, what kind? These aren't your normal garden variety kind of worms. What sort of worms are you ingesting? They're whipworms from pigs, but you don't see them. You don't smell them. Do you feel them crawling around up in there? Nope, not at all. I just know they're in there doing their job. Yeah, well, we're looking at them right now, and they're doing something, man, and my God, is that disgusting. It's a bunch of worms. There's a bunch of worms swimming around in your colon. It's a very photogenic colon, by the way. It's a very wet colon you have, sir. Very wet. Now, how do you get these things into your body? You said it's not a suppository. You eat them, right? You drink them? How do you I drink them in Gatorade. Uh-huh.
The X Factor, I believe.
How does that taste? You can't see them. They're microscopic, so you don't see them. You don't smell them. You don't taste them. All you taste is the Gatorade. And Gatorade's good. It's a very tasty beverage, isn't it? So is this worked? Has it solved your health condition at all? It has. Before I started drinking these worms, they thought they might have to remove part of my colon. But since I've been taking them for the last 2 years now, my colon has been absolutely clean. Really? Yep. So these things, you said you got these polyps. What's the mechanism in place here? The worms are actually crawling around up there, and they're actually eating the walls. There it is right there. I guess that's a worm chewing on a polyp. What's going on? Yeah, that's just it. They're eating all the bad bacteria in there. Uh-huh. See, I guess what this is kind of a 20th century condition you have here. Back in the day, like when things weren't so sanitary, we all had these worms in our stomach. It's just recently with hygiene and everything that we don't have enough worms in there, and therefore we have to drink them in Gatorade. I hate hygiene. That's right. Back in the Middle Ages, people didn't have colon problems. No, they didn't. That's because they only lived until they were 15 years old or so, but they didn't have colon problems, and they were about 4 feet high. So is this a sanctioned medical procedure? I mean, can I go down to the Walgreens pharmacy and buy like a little styrofoam container of the worms and down them? I mean, how does this work? I don't think you can do that right now. No, this is done through hospitals. Uh-huh. But it's available to everyone, or is it still an experimental phase? It's still in the experimental stage. But it worked for you, didn't it, my friend? It worked for, I know of 47 people in the program that it helped them. Mr. It didn't hurt any of them. That's a fantastic story. I'm very glad that you're feeling better. I just wish that I was after looking up your colon. Best of luck, my friend. Stay healthy.
That is such a thing that should totally be on Fear Factor. Except of drinking with Gatorade, snort them.
There you go. Right? See, that is the mind of a great television producer right there, Laura Swisher. All right, coming up next, Andrew Goldberg from The Smoking Gun with new tales of celebrity wrongdoing. Stick around, won't you? Unscrewed, my next friend knows a thing or two about celebrity mishaps and misdeeds. From thesmokinggun.com, please welcome my old chum, Andrew Goldberg. Hey, Andrew, how you doing?
Hey, Martin, how are you?
I'm doing great. Every time you're on the show, you get a little scruffier and scruffier.
It gets later and later here on the East Coast when I do it.
Yeah, we should let people know that you are in New York. Thank you for staying up very late. But you could have shaved. You had all day to do that.
I did shave this morning.
You did shave this morning. What are you, some kind of a weird beast, man? A lycanthrope? My God. Is there a full moon in New York tonight?
As you move further down the channel, I'll shave more and more.
But you guys, recently, you should change the name from thesmokinggun.com to like CourtneyLove.com, because she's like all over the front page all the time.
You know what we're doing, which is really great? She's actually supposed to play a show in New York at the end of the month.
So you know she's going to up.
Well, it's interesting because she has a court date that morning.
Oh, she does?
And,
you guys are going to be there?
Yeah, she does. And then she's going to Central Park. And, of course, we got some tickets, but we're also probably going to auction a few, raffle a few off on the site, give them away to some people who, follow her as closely as we do.
Last thing I'd want to do is win a raffle for a Courtney Love concert. But that's okay.
Yeah, but that's the
some
first
people
raffle.
like her. Anyway,
our
let's get
raffle,
into
you
the
go to the
business.
show.
It's
She
not
could
only
beat you up.
It's not only celebrities that end up on your site. I mean, some people actually become celebrities because they find themselves on the Smoking Gun. Let's talk about this strip club guy in New York City. What's his name? Tahodul Chaudhry. What happened with him?
I'm going to go with your pronunciation. What happened is about 3 or 4 weeks ago, there was another guy who filed a suit against this place, Scores. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's a well-known strip club here.
Howard Stern hangs out there. You hear about it all the time.
Sure, all the
radio,
time.
Right?
And this guy was saying, look, I woke up in the morning and I had $30,000 in credit card charges, which I don't remember how it happened. So we found this suit where this guy was saying I had $130,000, and I was alone most of the time.
Wow.
On 4 different credit cards.
How do you rack up a $130,000 credit card bill in a strip club in one night? Any ideas, Andrew?
I've never, I don't even have a credit card that could support a quarter of that, which he had 4 different credit cards supporting that.
I know. Don't you think that like Visa or something would have called up and stopped those transactions from happening after, say, $50,000 in Scores? I know they mask those things, so you don't know. We went to the strip club.
I hope he's getting miles on it.
Anyway, let's move on to Seinfeld's garage. Seinfeld in New York City, once again, is building a garage, but it's sort of been a little bit more complicated process than it was supposed to. Give us the information.
This is sort of one of those San Francisco people could understand, and New York could too, that space is at a premium and apartments are expensive. And he bought this place for his cars, and it took him over 4 years to build it. It took less time to build the Empire State Building. And at the end of the day, it houses 5 cars.
Oh my God.
And it's basically the way the guys who built it, who we talked to, described it. It was more like, his bachelor pad. He's got a wife, he's got a couple of kids now, and it's around the corner from his place, and it's got flat screen TV, pool table, sort of a deck outside. So it's probably less of a garage.
Yeah, this is his garage. It's an $880,000 garage for his 5 Porsches. Unbelievable.
All right, it cost millions by the time it was done.
Yeah, I bet. Let's move on to Richard Nixon. This is some old stuff. We're going to go back in history a little bit. You guys found some phone transcripts from Henry Kissinger. These things were recently released. They say some interesting things about Nixon when he was in the White House. Tell us about that.
Well, Kissinger was trying to find out if Nixon could take a phone call from the Prime Minister of Great Britain, and Brent Scrowcroft, who was there, said he can't right now because he's loaded. And
that's actually
they wanted to talk about about the Middle East, so who knows where we could be today.
It's a very
if not been
important
loaded.
subject. The 10 Downing Street calls, wants to talk to the president. Kissinger says, "Can we tell them no? When I talked to the president, he was loaded." I mean,
loaded.
I guess that's the way politics used to be. Too bad.
Yeah,
it's
you
changed.
could drink, and Nixon recorded everything, so you don't get away with anything with him.
Anyway, let's move on to another story. This is a really disturbing one. There's a child molester who turned out he was a circus clown, Spanky the Clown.
Right, Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey circus clown. And what happened is the feds were sort of looking into all these people who were, downloading kiddie porn. And what they decided to do was bust the people first, because they have hundreds and hundreds of names, who had most likely contact with children. So teachers and circus clowns were at the top of the list. And then they're working their way down to other people.
It's a very, very disturbing story.
It's disturbing, and then you put the picture of him as a clown next to the mugshot.
All right, one more thing. You guys are actually kind of in trouble yourselves. Not really in trouble, but you posted some stuff about the Michael Jackson case on your site. And you're in a little bit of hot water about this. In fact, you're kind of being subpoenaed now over this investigation. Is that correct? Speaking of clowns, oh my God, look at that guy.
And I said to them, you know, I promised you I wouldn't give you up as the source a long time ago, and we're not going to do it now, no matter who comes down. Yeah, I mean, they're investigating it. It's a DCFS, a Department of Children and Family Services memo about Michael Jackson, which we posted. And the family is basically setting up to sue the city, and the county, rather. And part of it is this investigation to see how that memo got out there. And they sent a letter saying, look, you know, would you guys just tell us where you got it and make everything easy? And, you know, that's not the sort of thing we answer or deal with.
Right on. Sticking to your guns, man. Not giving up your sources. Andrew, thanks very much for being on the program. Thank you. We'll see you next time. Check out thesmokinggun.com for more. And why don't you go home and bathe or take a shower or something? I think it's time. All right, up next, a girl gone wired so hot, her photos have been banned in Utah, Missouri, and all of Texas except for Austin. Stick around. Unscrewed. So people are constantly asking me, emailing us, what is it that you and Laura do talk about during the commercial breaks when you guys at home watch the commercials? Truth be told, we talk about politics. We chew on political issues. And during this particular commercial break that you just saw, Laura was presenting a very disturbing new theory she has about the prison abuse scandal. Why don't you...
Well, we were talking about Abu Ghraib, and I was simply saying that I didn't think I could be more outraged at the situation than I already was, and it turns out I was wrong.
Because they've come out with new photos of more abuse, new videotapes, something of this nature.
Well, let me put things into perspective really quick. We're spending billions and billions of dollars in Iraq, and basically this money is coming out of our pockets. The taxpayers are paying for it. So if you think about it, you and I, we paid for the treatment that certain Iraqis received at the hands of a few U.S. soldiers.
Yeah, essentially.
Yesterday, I'm checking out the erotic services ads posted on Craigslist. Come to find out, there are a lot of people in this country that are paying good money to get the same type of S&M service performed on them. So the Iraqis are getting this for free, while hardworking Americans are paying through the nose. And by the way, to have someone dress up as a soldier, that costs extra. Anyway, I did the math. And to get tied up and dominated, that's like $150 per hour. Humiliation, that's another $125 an hour. And finally, if you want a man pile, that's gonna set you back $100 per person. My point is that if we'd done this in the United States, we potentially could have made millions and millions of dollars.
Especially in San Francisco, I would
Especially in San Francisco.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Laura, you're very politically astute. Thank you for that disturbing analysis of current events.
You're welcome, Marty.
All right, now let's remove our boots and leggings and climb into the bed of touching. It's Girls Gone Wired. Tonight's dollop of melted butter is Shannon Lee. Shannon once lived on the island of Guam. Now, I could prattle on and tell you some made-up stuff about Guam, or I could tell you about some made-up adventure I had on Guam, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to be real with you people. Shannon Lee is a spy for the Greeks. That's right. Everyone knows the Greeks are after us. They want our land, our oil wells, our fast food restaurants, our glorious textile collectives. They want our very souls. And even though Shannon Lee is hot, very, very hot, we must not be distracted. Because as soon as she can, she's going to sell us out, man. Sell us out to the Greeks. There's my political analysis for you, Laura. Hey, for more pics of Shannon, why don't you hit her website? All right, just ahead, a new cure for acne that does not involve drinking worms. Stick around.
What?
Play, win, hyperactive.
We have a new online game everyone is talking about.
Every weeknight while you watch X-Play and Unscrewed with Martin Sargent. Go online and play Hyperactive along with the shows.
You can win an iPod Mini and other cool stuff. Many of you will be playing for months to come.
For rules and details, go to g4techtv.com/hyperactive and play along every night with X-Play at 11 and Unscrewed with Martin Sargent at 11:30. Starting September 6th.
So, looks like we're down to our last ultralight menthol 100, the old Unscrewed soft pack. A final puff called Playing With Yourself. Hey, Switch, when you were going through your awkward period growing up, teenage
What awkward
years,
period?
back when perhaps you had an acne problem, did you ever have an acne problem?
No, I had a worse problem.
What was that?
I looked like a boy till,
That is bad.
till age 18.
I had a pretty bad acne problem, but only on the back of my thighs. And it sucked because no one would sit next to me in the cafeteria because it would ooze and everything. And I tried to wrap it in saran wrap, but it only made the problem worse. Anyway, nowadays they got this organic acne medication called Acme Be Gone, and there's a game that you can play along with it. It's kind of fun. And what you do is just, this guy's got a bad acne problem, and you just go through and kind of pick his zits like that.
Where did you find this game?
I was searching for a remedy on the internet for my thighs. And I came across this that I decided to put on the television show.
So it's
which was
kind of
probably a very bad idea. Well, you can get a link to that at albinoblacksheep.com. Hey, that was a lot of fun, wasn't it? Hey, everyone, thanks so much for being here. Thanks to our friends Andrew Goldberg, Raymond Fiedler, Girl Gone Wired, Shannon, of course, my best pal, the Swish. Good night, everyone. We'll see you at the bar.
And the ladies looking lovely. Tried to show some love, but the haters tried to mug me. Walk up to the bar.